Hello, everybody, and welcome to another little bonus episode of the Headspace Podcast, the show where we break down new-ish hip-hop albums track by track, giving thoughts and opinions on every single song. Today, I'll be joining you. My name is Holden Stephan Roy, and sometimes Chris Chrome joins me. This weekend he's busy, so I'm trying to get all these reviews done while I have this more flexible schedule than I normally have for the weekend. On that note, today we're going to be talking about Black Thought's Streams of Thought Volume 1. Why? Because it was a short little EP. I didn't recognize a lot of what came out this week, and I don't know. It was just something that I was curious about. So we'll get into that a little bit later on. We're going to do the intro bit. You can skip that shit by checking the description of this video to see when we talk about everything in particular. On that note, I like to start off all the reviews now, just letting you know that I don't really think I'm some crazy hip-hop expert or anything like that. In a lot of cases, I recognize that I'm being exposed to new music that is something I'm trying to appreciate and understand, with a heavier emphasis on the art of the album and entire projects in general, because singles are cool, but a single within the realms of a greater album is a completely different experience, and I'm more interested in the more granular, deeper side of things, so hence the long-ass album review for a 5-song album. Anyway, just to let you know though, I do care about what you think and what you have to say, and if you notice that I say something silly or dumb or whatever, feel free to reprimand me in the comments with as much vulgarity as you see fit. I might not respond the best if you're an ass, but I will try to remember that customer service is the essence of everything. On that note, to show how much I care about the comments, I like to read my favorite comment off of last week's video, and this was off of a bonus episode of the Classic Quest that we did. I can't remember what album it was now. I probably should have thought of that. Still, it's from Ismail Gadamsi, and it was in response to asking for different EPs that we could review that were hip-hop that you thought would be interesting, and he recommended Streams of Thought EPs. This was the second time he recommended it for the bonus review, although he wouldn't be surprised if the EPs will become a full-length album, and I know he said that because there are certain labels that maybe are doing that, where they'll release a bunch of smaller chunks of an album as like a promo tool to build up to a bigger full-length project, although I'm not 100% sure that's what I think Black Thought did here, but I definitely think that's what guys like Tech9 are doing. On that note, I do care about your comments. Maybe I'll read yours at the beginning of some other video, so I'm going to keep doing that favorite comments thing. Y'all seem to like it, and I really do read everybody and answer y'all, so that's a big, important part of what I think the community should be, like a discussion, not just me talking to you, because I can be wrong. Anyway, special thanks to the patrons: Ismail Gadamse, same guy, Linda Williams, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black Hurricane, and Chris Prado. Big love to them. We'll talk a bit about that at the end. And now let's get into it. Today, just so that the Google overlords can hear it one more time, we're going to be talking about Black Thought, Streams of Thought, Volume 1. Now, so this is the part of the show where I think it's very important to contextualize my relationship with the artist, in this case Black Thought, and how much I've listened to him and all of that good stuff, because if you've been a fan of the Roots forever, or like you think Black Thought's one of the illest lyricists and all sorts of things, when you come to this project you're going to feel a certain way. If you're more like me, and I feel like I say this far too often on this channel, and this is the first time you've ever actually listened to Black Thought, it's a little embarrassing to admit on a hip-hop review channel that, well, not just hip-hop, but like on a review channel, that you've never listened to the Roots, you've never really listened to Black Thought's rhymes outside of the occasional feature that he shows up on, and you don't know a lot, and that's where I'm at. I'm that guy who is woefully ignorant to the Roots. It might take a month or so, a month and a half, but we do review classic hip-hop albums, at least one a week, and I think it's very important that at some point we do the Roots. So this is going to be for you all, the fans who check out this video. Whatever Roots album gets the most comments and whatever saying that we should review it, that will be the one we review, and this will be open until that review comes out. So it could be 6 weeks or so, based on my little schedule that I'm looking at. Could be a little bit, but 100% we're going to do a Roots album, and you, the comment section, are going to tell us what the fuck we should be reviewing. I'll be joined with Bonnie. She's a lady, so it's more fun when I'm joined with a lady to talk about an album, so that's coming too. Anyway, so I don't know a lot about Black Thought, except that I started thinking about his name as I was listening to the project, and he's black, which is fair. That's where he comes from. But that brings a lot of stuff in terms of a cultural identity and things along those nature, which I have a more top level understanding now, having read a bit, but it's really stuff I'm very top level with my understanding of, being a white dude in Montreal. Still, the thought part is very relatable. I think I have thoughts, you have thoughts and stuff, so it's almost like Black Dot is like trying to establish him within his name, just the branding to be like, you know, a representation of like the thoughts of black culture and shit. I thought that was a cool name as I was listening to his project and the level of depth this dude brings to this stuff, because spoiler alert, the dude's a motherfucking lyricist like I almost barely ever seen in my life. So that's a lot of excitement going into this project, because again, I had no fucking idea, and then I came in and I just listened and I was like, damn, something else here. I don't want to waste your time stuff, but sorry, before getting into the album, I cut myself off, but I have to say that I didn't listen to them. A lot of the reason is because, like, I mean, I started getting my own computer and getting into life, I'd say 2006 to 2008, and I started discovering stuff. But a lot of the reason that as I started getting deeper into hip-hop, I didn't bother to ever check out the roots, especially because since this channel's been around, is because I fucking hate Jimmy Fallon. Like, I just don't like that guy. I find his content awful, and I guess when I think of the roots, I think of Jimmy Fallon. And I can't, like, make that disassociation. I know it's stupid. I know it's dumb. I respect the shit out of them getting that bag, man. That must be the greatest gig, man. To be, like, the band that supports one of the most popular things on YouTube, let alone. Like, they managed to probably get more exposure on YouTube than any other rapper just through Jimmy Fallon. Like, motherfucking genius. So I respect the shit out of it. It's just, I don't know, my girlfriend makes me watch Jimmy Fallon, and it's like, ugh, this guy's terrible every fucking time. So that's why I put off with the roots, but now I'm going to get over myself because of this album, and it inspired me. We're going to review the roots. We're going to do it. I like this album cover. It's such an interesting little design. If I'm not mistaken, it's like scratching some vinyl or some shit like that. But like you can see that it's like this little art piece, and it's like all these little black face looking things just like scratched into something with this almost whitish background. I mean, just it looks like something you would want to print out on like a poster or something and put on your wall, or it would make an excellent t-shirt fucking image. Like, it's just cool to look at. It doesn't necessarily scream a lot at me in terms of what the album's gonna be like personally. Maybe it screams something at you. I would love to hear your interpretation of what you see when you look at this cover. That would be really interesting to read. But yeah, I like the design. I think it's really well, and it's really distinct when you look at it like in a little thumbnail format that like it just pops out. And I guess as far as design goes, it achieves its goal as a decent album cover in the modern era. The project's called Streams of Thought Volume 1, which does two things. It lets you know that this is going to be like Black Dot just spitting whatever the fuck comes into his mind, and that it's going to be the first of multiple iterations of this little series. This whole project is also produced by Ninth Wonder, which I thought is cool because I do know who he is and I like his production work. So I was expecting, just on that, an old school lyrical hip hop album. And when did this come out? This motherfucker came out early 2018. So evidence that hip hop has not in fact died, that the only music coming out is not vapid pop music. And if we all take that effort to just dig into the crates, we can go ahead and find this project. Like, yeah, this has been out for over a year, but I heard it today, or this week, listened to it more than just today, and I'm blown away. And I think that's the beauty of this shit. And if we all put that effort in, we can, I assume most of you watching this are on that team. Old school hip hop's the shit. We want to see that take over. So if we do want to see that take over, we can all do our part and, like, you know, promote the fact that this type of shit exists over hating on the fact that other shit is winning. Just remember, if we make our side look cool, then we win with the kids. If we make ourselves sound like our parents, that's not gonna help our case a lot. Anyway, I really dig the idea of this whole stream of thought thing. Stream of consciousness is one of my absolute favorite writing forms. I mean, I make music. I don't want to toot my own horn, but the stream of consciousness approach to just kind of flowing from your mind, it's one of the most honest and interesting forms of writing, in my opinion. While it may not be as professional or other things. Just in general, it's such a powerful form of writing in terms of expression and to almost communicate a sense of who you are to another person. So I'm really excited for this. And I found out today that the Philadelphia area code is 215.
When Burning Man was blacks in Birmingham before the presidential election diversion scandal.
So like I googled that shit just to like make extra certain that was the Philly area code, and Google's big answer says area code 267, and I'm like, oh shit. But then I saw that there's 215, 267, and 445. So those are the Philadelphia area codes. Now you know. And if you're from Philly and I fucked that up because one is like some suburban region or whatever, I didn't click the Wikipedia link. I just read the little summary at the top. Montreal, it has 2 area codes. There's the 514 for the on island, and that has landlines. And then every mobile person in like a cell phone in Quebec is available for the 438 network, which is just different. So like if you're true in Montreal, you shout out that 514. That's what's up. I just felt it would be a good place to start with my area code. You know, showing love to the city that birthed and raised me. And because moi je viens de Montréal, it's so interesting to see that this album starts off in French. He dit, c'est pas vrai, dit, pince-moi, dit, c'est comme si je n'avais jamais dansé avant. And that would mean, say it isn't true, pinch me, say it's like you've never danced like this before, or something to that effect. I'm not saying I'm the best translator of French to English. I just understand the shit because it's been around me my whole life. I didn't know what pince-moi meant, and I did have to Google that, so there you go. I'm pretty functionally bilingual because it's the only way to be employed in Quebec. Anybody in an office job probably speaks decent French, for the most part. There are exceptions. Anyway, you don't care about the French. Ninth Wonder puts a beat together that sounds like sample driven, and in fact it does sample a particular French song, L'amour de joie by violin, I said that all terribly. L'amour joue au violin, which means love played on the violin, and it's by Jeanette somebody, and that is who samples and does the little singing at the beginning and the end, and then it just flows into a very old school sounding, well produced beat. What I mean is, it's got the vibe of the samples and the groove, and that's when I picture old school now in terms of beats, I picture instrumentation layering done in a way where you're supposed to get kind of sucked into the groove and the vibe of the project, and then the rapper comes in and lays down his shit on top. And that is exactly what we are getting here. It's not really about maybe hypeness where you're supposed to be all crazy. It's almost meant like you're supposed to get intoxicated into the vibe of the song and let yourself just absorb what is about to happen. And I can tell you that I chain listen to the songs when I do my formal side of the review, like when I do, actually give grades and shit. And I listen to them like 3-4 times in a row. And I figure with Black Dot, give it an extra little listen, short project. And man, that beat is pretty well done in the sense that sometimes a beat will get kind of annoying the more you hear it, or sometimes a beat will be like it gets hyper the more you hear it, and then sometimes you just have a beat that's just set up right where every time you hear it, it just almost competes with the rapper for composition. Like, it's hard to decide, do I want to listen to Ninth Wonder's production or do I want to listen to Black Thought's rhyming? Because both are so eloquently put together and they flow well. But the truth of the answer is it's almost always Black Thought's rhyming because I'm more of a rapper lyrics kind of guy. So it's just strong rhymes the whole way through this album. And I mean, like, I don't really understand entirely the first line, but yo, the big wheel keep turning like Ike's and Anna Mae's. I mean, big wheels keep on turning, I think is what he's saying. Either way, the church kitchen hustling dinners every Saturday. Pull over, let me grab a plate. I tend to gravitate towards how fish dinners from styrofoam platter taste. And it's like, I don't 100% understand all of the references he's using. But the way that he's rhyming, it kind of has that stream of consciousness. These are just lines flowing into his head, but it flows. You can tell that whatever the fuck he's talking about kind of sounds like it could be drugs or some shit or hustling or some kind of situation like that, or just grinding. I don't know. But it flows together. The puns kind of play off of each other just linguistically, like church kitchen, hustling dinners. The following line, let me grab a plate. The following line, fish dinners. Like, these are all things that connect together, making a very cohesive top-level solo writing that I find very great off the jump. Like, you know that you can't just listen to this track one time and catch everything. You know you're stuck having to go spin it back several times to catch all the references. And on top of that, you have to Google. I mean, if you're like me and most of these references are not like there, like I know what a French Foreign Legion is. So when he goes casualties, I see him like the French Foreign Legion on the street. They used to carry out bizarre procedures in jean jackets and the jabber Adidas, I don't care. So like I kind of get that line because the French Foreign League was like these elite like fucking French fighting force of, if I'm not mistaken, like it was an international foreign thing. And so like I can kind of pick out stuff, but I don't really know who Donny Hathaway is. So his granddaddy sported plaid Donny Hathaway's hustling. So I clicked on the album cover, and it's a jazz guy, I think, and he's got a hat on, and that's a reference to like the type of hat that this dude was famous for. So it's that kind of writing, which might be the best kind of rhyming, in my opinion, when I understand it. When I don't understand it, it's a little bit challenging, and I do have to Google, and it's not as fun, but it's like right up there. While maybe it isn't the most, so it's maybe not like crazy on the emotional scale of like super passionate, like expressing heartbreak type shit. It is just so well written that the writing is astounding, and I am almost ashamed that I have not listened to Black Thought before now for how well put together this is. I don't know, like me and my man twisting up some reefer and wishing we all knew the town hitman and the likes of sound Christian, who's a hitman, notorious gangster dude, on the edge of existence. Man, listen, understand, respect and fear was the all-American ambition for badass kids in the laundromat folding a load. And it just flows, and like it keeps going like that the whole song. And it's just line for line, he's communicating some kind of idea, but he's so tight with it. Like he understands how to imply like a kind of comma into his flow. And I mean, like, some people have very steady cadences, but he'll flip his flow around in the middle of the rhymes, and he'll make it where like in jean jackets and jabber Adidas, back when the local R&B was just as soulful as orthopedics, me and my man twisting up some reefer and wishing, and I know I'm doing a very terrible delivery of it, but he'll like look for the opportunities to make each pocket of these lines rhyme, you know, so that it's not just one like steady cadence for the whole thing. It's almost like kind of like what Tech 9 does in the fast and obvious way, but in a more subtle and like perfectly crafted watchmaker approaching the intricate gears of the beat kind of way. I also like the intelligence and wisdom he throws into it with his puns. So like this one was an interesting one once it clicked for me. I heard murder around this vast deserted land since back when Burning Man was blacks in Birmingham. Now that's an amazing rhyme in terms of just how he makes Burning Man and Birmingham sound exactly the same in the way he's saying it while still being different. But what he's saying there is Burning Man, before it was this fun old fucking festival where you burn a big old man, it was like motherfucking blacks getting burnt on crosses type shit. And you know, that's like the history of the situation before the presidential election diversion scam, which is kind of like you're thinking of just the corruption in like Trump's campaign and the different smoke screens that get used to distract us all. Another one, before they clapped Franz Ferdinand, which is interesting that he's even going back to the catalyst of the First World War. You gossip on Jay and Beyonce or Kim and Kanye, but keep rising to the top. What my mind say, picture my daughter drinking water signs that say for color girls. And then it's like, y'all are like focused on these types of celebrities and shit. Meanwhile, I'm just picturing what could happen if my daughter had grown up in the era that we came from. It's overall just it's absolutely ridiculous. It's a pretty long verse, and it just keeps going. Like there's so many great like fucking puns, like Obi-Wan, puns and rhyming. Obi-Wan, universe, you owe me one. Obi-Wan, like Star Wars, universe, you owe me one, which he says the same way. Solid, my homie Gonzalez, only know gun violence. And the way he's just putting this shit together on the corner where they probably on a 21 Savage, catch two in your cabbage, young Cesar Chavez. And what I like about Black Thought, and it's something I heard him say somewhere, is that he is not afraid to like mispronounce a word to make it rhyme, because fuck it, he can just do that. And he does it in a way, like the way he says cabbage isn't cabbage, it's more like cabbage or whatever, to like match the way he rhymes everything else to make it all flow. It's absolutely motherfucking stellar. You know, it's just so good. I gave this track a 4.5 on 5. I mean, I could run through all the lyrics and everything, but I don't know that that's like what I should do, because I don't understand all the references at this time. But I encourage you to check this one out, man. And let me know what your favorite bars are on any one of these songs. I would love to know which lines like struck out at you the most, because there's so many good ones. And I suppose if you understand the lyric, like it might hit you in a more powerful, resonating kind of way. Still, 4.5 on 5. The reason I'm not calling it perfect is because as much as I love and admire this sound, it is not my absolute favorite sound. It is a sound I've come to really appreciate as an art form, and the lyrics and poetry are absolutely stellar and beyond it. But would I listen to it all the time? Nah, this is like dense poetry. I want to listen to some thinking music type shit. Anyway, Ninth Wonder versus Black Dot features on the next track, Ninth versus Dot. For real, like, a lot of what I have to say about Ninth Wonder is pretty much the same on every song. This track is equally as well made and is fucking dope. So this track kind of just flows out, and it's just, I'm not the typical arrogant American on prescribed medicine, I'm sick as I ever been. And that's such an interesting line, right? So you could look at it like there's a degree of arrogance in self-prescribing different medicines, or even to going to see a doctor and getting medicine to correct some shit, like you were being born and like it's like God made you a certain way, and there's an arrogance in like trying to correct that shit. So in the same way, he's saying like his mind's almost clear and he's not fucked up in that way. He's sick as I ever been. So unlike the idea of curing yourself through medicine, which he's viewing as like a negative thing, he's flipping that shit and pointing out that he's sick, or almost real and authentic as he ever been. What a powerful start. What it's just fucking brilliant. I'm sick, rolling out the dealership in the McLaren. These rappers is Peter Pan, I'm Pan-African. So you get the sense that there's a little bit of looking at, you know, the modern scene, and he's like, yo, I got that conscious shit, that Black Dot top level shit. I agree, dog. You was killing it in that regard. And other people is a little bit flashy, a little bit imaginary life, a little bit like Peter Pan. And I'm like, okay, this is fucking dope. He flows on through, and he keeps just, I don't know, man. It's like every line mashes together in a sense where it's like he doesn't stop. There's no like pause. There's no bullshit ad-libs that are filling up space with it. Nah, he just rhymes the whole way through the verse. I don't give a damn. Not a mortal could test me. See, I don't get examined. I'm a high priest and a wild beast. Once warrior, now chief, the mouthpiece of the foul east. It flows so well. Like even just saying the words out loud, like you can feel the quality in the flow of how these words connect together to just be an enjoyable thing to listen to. And just the idea that it's like he recognizes his age and his wisdom has moved him from being maybe the young buck on the rise to like more of a commander, a person who's observing. And then I like how he does the little throwback with the I'm a rock him and sock him and robot Hoff, I drop bombs. I like that little things, and he just kind of like, you know, lets you know where he's coming from. And I got come at you like .coms. I don't 100% get that, but I mean, there was probably an era where a lot of motherfuckers are showing up with all sorts of ideas for .coms and shit, so I kind of connected to that. And he then goes, you should know I'm not for the run-of-the-mill drill. I'm still Trill, the flamethrower, the real deal. And it's just the way he bounces it and has this airiness, and that like every few lines the flow just seems to keep on flipping and shit. It's just got like the right kind of vibe to really get any kind of a lyrical addict kind of kicked in. And I wanted to ask y'all your opinions on this, because he ends the verse and it's beautiful again. Money is just a concept, never been an object, even when my mother was living up in the projects. So there you have like the part, that part's clear. You know, like money is an idea that doesn't actually exist. It shouldn't be the defining thing that like rules our world. And even in my state of poverty, it is not the thing that ruled my world. But now he goes, now my rating is higher than young Richard Pryor get. So it's like maybe his skill or his bank account or his credit score or whatever is literally higher than, you know, how high a young Richard Pryor would get. But it could also, like according to the Genius line, kind of refer to perhaps the way that he elevated himself to get over, to stop using N-words and stuff, because he felt that that was like a degradational move. I just was curious about your breakdown of what that meant. And then he flows it even still, because with the next line, still speaking my mind, just in a different dialect. So it's almost like through the age and the wisdom and stuff, he's still expressing the same almost aggressive or powerful ideas that he once did as a youth, with maybe more aggression, but in a smarter way. And I really resonated with this, because like in my own life, I'm dealing with kind of stuff like at work, you know, feedback might be I have to deal with people a little bit wiser. It's not like give up my convictions or be a different person, but you can just say things a little bit differently. And then I thought the next part was super interesting in this little interlude. It takes two to make anthropology, the student and the studied. That being the case, it is time for the student to study to examine the student and to evaluate its own self. So this is taken from a thing that's kind of looking at anthropology as a white vehicle to examine other races and almost use the differences between our different ethnicities as a subjugation tool. So this was kind of, again, hit me because recently I've read a few things and trying to get my black history on to better understand shit. So I read through like a sociological summary of like the 4 eras of how white people understood life in the hood. And so much of it was really not written from a perspective of like people who live there or how they actually feel or reflective of them per se, but almost like a bunch of outsiders with, you know, like kind of like how people sometimes see me as like this person who's putting up the hip-hop culture on like this weird zoo animal that I'm examining, which I assure you was not my intention. I'm just, you know, listening to the music and trying to absorb the ideas. I feel like that's something we can all do. But I can see how maybe in my earlier reviews I didn't take it seriously and it came off that way, so that's a fair statement. But in a sense, like, there is maybe a danger in if we're using a tool like anthropology or the scientific method to code somebody that you can't connect to in any kind of empathetic way and misunderstanding them and using that research as like evidence to maybe control a situation. And it's an important maybe, and I think this is what this little passage is trying to convey, to consider the impact of it. So maybe have the folk in the hood do their own little psychological or their anthropological exploration of the people outside the hood, which I almost feel might be a little bit of what Black Thought's entire like motif might be, is to like be that perspective, to look at the other side of it all. Then you got the second verse. And again, it's fucking dope. I said, I seen it all, I had it all, I ain't mad at all. This rapper toss gravitas like a cannonball. Staying up all night, throwing my sleep pattern off. I need a doctor on call to keep Adderall. Position of my commission is the trilateral. You fucking with me, you tripping for trying that at all. I don't know. It's just pretty fucking great. I like when he goes from downtown, no Ryan Lewis and Macklemore, because I was again just talking about Macklemore and how I really like the heist, and then it kind of goes downtown from there, or it's not downtown, downhill from there. But I didn't really like that downtown song. I appreciated him like pulling the like old school rappers on and showing love in that way, but it also kind of like seems like it's a goofy old time rather than maybe a more serious situation. I don't know. I really dug it overall, the things. I learned that his bass player is going to sue him, and then I, again, had to go Google that, and it turns out that the original bass player in the Roots is trying to sue them all over money after some situation where he's a co-owner, and, you know, like, basically the contract was supposed to be that for Era the Music made and shit after the parting of this bass player, he was supposed to get some cheddar, and so just the way he, like, throws it in, like, yo, it's like, this is just another thing on my mind, this is just another situation, but it just fits perfect, like almost like adding to a credential to his life, you know. I really appreciated this track again. I think it's another 4.5 on 5. I feel like it's equally as good as the last song. It's equally as dense as the last song. The production is exactly on point with it. I mean, it's pretty fucking cool. On that note, let's talk about Dostoyevsky.
Source. When we were young, innocence was ours, but that was lost. Where I reside is
so this is really cool. I learned today that Fyodor Dostoyevsky is the dude who wrote War and Peace and Crime and Punishment, which I learned because at the end of Black Thought's first verse, he does something very cool. And I like it written without a ghostwriter to author it for me. Ooh, taking shots at motherfuckers who can't write their own shit. This is Crime and Punishment. That's a book that I want to read now. I'm the judge and jury. Listen, Dostoyevsky. So just to let you know, that's actually kind of cool, and you should check them out. And the reason he named this song this and how it came about is he was having like an interview with somebody, and the interviewer compared him or like called him hip hop's version of Dostoyevsky. I don't even think I'm saying that right. So like apparently just the deepness, the philosophical exploration and shit. And then I brought this up to Bonnie, and she gave me like a 15-minute speech about how awful it was to read War and Peace and how I shouldn't do it. So now, YouTube audience, if you've read Crime and Punishment, should I do it? Is it worth it? I know it's big, so you're committing with that shit. I want to read it. I want to take on that challenge. Just be like that motherfucker who can be like, yeah, I read the hard Russian book. I'm that kind of guy. What can I say? When it comes to like fucking books, I'm a floss like motherfuckers floss with fashion and shit. Anyway, that's not really the point. The song's beautiful in the way it starts, and it features Rapsody, which is fucking cool. Rapsody is one of those people we discovered on this channel that was like, holy shit, that girl can rap. Like, when people try to make videos or comments on how like Nicki Minaj and Cardi B proved that women can't rap and everybody's using their bodies to sell, and it's just bullshit, because Rapsody here, and just to throw it in, No Name there, just to throw it in, Jean Grey's out there, and yo, we've come to discover some excellent dope female MCs, and just to have Black Thought bring her on is such a cool situation, and they're both connected through Ninth Wonder, and they're like homies like that, so that's how this song came to be. I was a little bit excited. It actually helped sway me to want to review this project, just to give Rapsody that little bit of shine, because I do feel like we got to support more of the women rappers up on this channel, and we have not done an adequate job of that. So always, as always, when I say this, let me know what your favorite female rap albums are, and we'll see about getting those reviewed too. So I like how it starts with, yeah, the universe let the planets align, spent 10K and the car didn't decline. And I mean, he's simultaneously flossing and relating to you at like the exact same time. And that's weird. That's a weird feeling. So on the one hand, you almost picture him like, yes, my like payment went through. And I mean, I think we've all had moments where you pass that card and you pray that the number that you put in your head actually is the right amount. Like maybe you had $8.27 in your bank account and that shit says $8.24, and you just praying that goes through and that you were correct in that, you know, and then it goes through and you get like that joyful, like little relief. But at the same time, he's talking about $10,000, and I can tell you I've never made a $10,000 purchase in my life. I made some big purchases, but never that big. I'm not there yet. I'm on my way, though. One day we're going to talk huge purchases. I got the RSP running and all the cool stuffs now as I'm trying to become a proper fucking adult. But yeah, then it flows into Bartender, One, Casamigos, and Lime. I'm celebrating gracefully getting better with time. And it's cool because I appreciate the fact that I think the most wise thing I've figured out in my life, and the only thing I think I'm proud of figuring out, is that getting older is cool. Like, it's not this bad thing that people think, and you just get more skills and more experience, and your ability to do things gets better, and you get like more patient, and like you calm down a little bit. And certainly maintaining passion is not the simplest thing as you age. That part's a little bit harder. But let's say you've done all this groundwork and built up your shit, and you try to keep getting better, and you just stay passionate about self-improvement. And passion's fucking easy. And I like the fact that you had this, I think he's 46 or 47-year-old man, or I guess he's like a little bit younger when he released this, just pointing out like, yo, I'm not even done. I ain't even halfway through this incredible ride, but like, I'm kind of doing an incredible job. When I was 18, living beyond my means, I was afraid of my dreams. And I like how on this one, we're getting a little bit more of almost like this encouragement and like this self-awareness being thrown in. So it's like he believed in himself, he achieved, took over, and he's validating how dope he is, but he's doing it in a very empirical way where sometimes people might just go, I'm the GOAT, and you're like, okay, how can you prove it? And then Black Thought's doing a pretty good job of showing how fucking dope he is with his writing, while simultaneously kind of flossing about how successful and shit he is. But like going back to his earlier ambitions of dreaming of being at this place, like cash rules I wish I could flip to a microchip from a paperclip. Because if you think about that line, a paperclip implies that you're on like the old school tech of like pen and papers. I'm actually trying to do this shit. And when you go to the microchip, it's the computers and the phone. And I like my phone too, so I'm with him on that. Upgrade to a spaceship from a basic whip, which can easily be interpreted as buying a fucking Tesla, because that's some dope ass shit right now. Cash rules everything. I just wanted a taste of it. Shout out to the Woo. While, like, you know, honestly, I would love a taste of it too. And it's not for like material wealth, it's for the opportunity that comes from it. Let's say I had like $200,000 today just given to me. I might buy some gear, like maybe, you know, not even like move or anything, but just get some better gear and some protection for the apartment. But like honestly, the rest of that would just go into opportunity making and like building and other cool shit, so that it can kind of create the dividends to always be able to go, yo, I want to do that and be able to do it. To me, that's like the dream. Either way, fast food hurrying, saving time, not wasting it, self-saboteur, speaking to my paramour, torch rappers like I'm lighting the aerosol. And again, it's just like, you get the sense that he is a well-calculated, experienced veteran that just destroys motherfuckers. Anyway, then it flows out to that cool line with line and punishment and whatnot, and it's dope. And then to have Rapsody kind of being like a younger one, I think she's closer to my age, 30-ish. I don't know what her age is. I swam with crocs, fished with sharks. I never popped charts, but I know I'm popular. I was built to run the game. I came out playing bodyguard with young between 5'5" and 6'4". I was like, damn, man. So she's handled it with the worst of the worst types of people. She's held her ground. Even if she ain't, like, been a significant player, although she got a fucking Grammy nomination. So, I mean, you might not have popped charts, but not a lot of people get Grammy nominations. Either way, but she knows she's popular. Probably because she got a Grammy nomination. No, but, like, she seems like the type of person who, like, the reals know her. Like Joe Budden and Charlamagne the God are hyping her up and shit on that little video they did together. Anyway, it's pretty dope. I didn't really understand the line, y'all still owe us for what y'all did to the Cold Crush. I looked into it briefly, and it kind of related. I saw something related to how for Rappers Delight or whatever, nobody got paid and shit, and people got fucked around with. And so I'm taking it kind of like this is like the industry's a little bit like fucked. To my donuts, I'm shooting Jay Dilla's and what, which I thought was a fucking cool line, right? Because Jay Dilla's last project is donuts and shit. But like the way she's like spitting it, I was like, yeah, I'm just like dropping out like fucking tracks on that level of fire, like it's fucking nothing. I want to cop when I get a loot and recoup. I had to go through hella doors, so in short, that's why I only want 2. But I ain't got J number, I see CM to prove, because everything I pictured in my head's always coming true. And just this flossy thing, like, yo, I have my vision, I'm rolling on through. You know, I talked to Jay-Z through emails and shit. I'm not maybe that connected, but still I'm on my way, I'm doing what I gotta do. And I really appreciated her verse. It's fucking dope. She sounds like fantastic next to Black Thought. Like, I can't wait to hear what Rapsody does next. Then on the third verse, Black Thought rolls in and he kind of shouts out some shit like, I said Dostoyevsky whatever meets Joe Pesci, so it's like wisdom meets I'm gonna fuck you up. Tired of staring at a glass half empty, turning me from Dr. Sebi to cocking semi. It got me clutching my machete from the Serengeti. I ready Wild Styles and Fab Five Freddy. I love that, like the way he like flows it. But even just conceptually, the idea of like flipping from like a composed person into like a savage through multiple examples and shit, I don't know. It's a pretty powerful track. I did want to highlight one more line. Well, what's the use of them trying when nobody can touch us unless it's fabricated, probably drug-related, but love it or hate it, I will not be subjugated when they're screaming you the greatest that did it was underrated, as if every other player who spit it was unrelated. And that's so interesting because he sits there and he's describing how like, he is in a league up here, and people's criticisms and commentaries maybe can't hurt them. Other people are being a little bit fake, maybe bringing up like drugs and shit in kind of a pseudo way that isn't real for the sake of selling records and shit. But he's like, whatever, that exists. It's not going to take me out. And then comments on how people might perceive him as an underrated MC, how he should have more love, more shine, while simultaneously he's going, but like, people walk up to me and tell me I'm the greatest in their opinion. Like, how much better can it fucking be than to have anybody walk up and say you are the GOAT and sincerely mean that shit? And so he's like, I don't feel like I'm underrated. And then the idea or the supposition is that other people's efforts and contributions to the culture is unrelated to his success, whereas he's almost implying it that it's like a team effort, like it's everybody that kind of built into it. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Anyway, I gave this shit another 4.5 on 5. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of it is like the sound of the song. That's why it's not a 5, because this rhyming is flawless. Like, it's just perfect. Like, this is a guy who has perfected the craft, who already was hella dope when he was young, and you can just feel it. And he's got all this knowledge and shit to draw from to make these really smart references. I don't know, it's just really, really cool to me. So I give it a 4.5. But like, yeah, I was saying the opposite. The reason it's not like a 5 in general has to do with just, it isn't a sound I'm drawn to go want to like put on all the time and listen to. But again, if I want to listen to some deep thinking, rhyming, like as a scholar, I want to listen to this again to learn more. As a fan, I respect the shit out of this, but I wish the beats was more in line with my preferences, which might be a little bit less what they want to hear, but that's okay. I do kind of like the sound of pop music. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't like the substance of pop, but like when you get this kind of rhyming over like pop sounds, that's my favorite. Anyway, Styles P joins us on the next track as we talk about making a murderer.
The diplomat, pistol slap aristocrats. Any rapper coming for me, I'ma send a mission.
So the beat's a little more like subdued and kind of like I feel like it's a little more gritty. This is a long song. This one's over 4 minutes. So as far as this album goes, definitely like what I would say, big old song. The last one was about 4 minutes though, and it featured Rapsody. This one features Styles P. So I guess with the features you get that like extra minute or so of track going on, and then Black Dot's giving you the same amount like each time. Either way, it's a dope fucking verse from Black Dot. It really falls on with the same level of shit that we've been getting. I said outer space, the place that I'm parking in, my marketing when you see the sky darkening, rhyme artisan from the crew that's bipartisan, high haters, a 5th grader, you're not smarter than, alpha and omega, you beats I march harder than. I tried to emphasize the rhymes a little bit there just to like show how he flows it on through, keeps his core rhyme, sets up his other little rhymes and shit to like, you know, maybe within the line, and then keeps the concept that he is out there and next level with his shit, and you might be a little bit basic with it. It's pretty fucking cool. I don't want to just go and reread all of his lyrics like I've done. It's just dope in terms of what he's saying here. I don't know if there was a lot that stuck out to me just because there was a lot of lyrics and he flows it really well. I'm not trying to cop out. I knew there was something else. Why does the Democratic Republic of the Congo? I'm Hunter S. Thompson doing it gonzo. A rapper winds up as a Jonzo. I told 60 seconds to shine before I fall. I must be out my mind with it. Gold diggers. Here come the generation for the quadricentennial. I'm not a millennial. What I rap is the old. So, frankly, I learned a lot about Hunter S. Thompson recently, and this is like the 3rd or 4th time on this album that something he referenced was like something I've talked about within the last like day or two, and I thought that was really cool. And just the idea of him going in with that real approach, that honest approach, that journalistic mind that's trying to capture the essence of shit's dope. And then he kind of comments like, yo, a rapper winds up as a John Doe. You fuck with me, you're gonna take it out. Nobody's gonna remember who the fuck you were. You know, your little 60 seconds of famous up and shit. People like look at him like he must be crazy, but like everyone seems to be chasing money. And he's just letting you know flat out, he ain't a millennial. He is an old man making music for the old men. And I respect the shit out of that. Although I'm a millennial, and not all of us are that bad. It's the older end of millennials. You gotta keep in mind, the millennial is 20 years old to 38 years old. All right, there's no kids that are millennials anymore. We're all full grown adults and shit. And there's a whole new generation under coming in. So yes, I'm a millennial, but I appreciate what the fuck this guy's doing than a lot of that new more. But I like substance. I really like substance in my rhymes, and you're totally getting that. I mean, he literally says shit like, who packing avocado toast like Mario Batali. I don't know what the fuck that means, but the fact that he managed to make an avocado toast line in the middle of his bars is fucking fantastic, just from the broad array of shit he's pulling from. You know he's a well-read, smart motherfucker. So Styles P. I do know who Styles P is. I know we reviewed one of his albums before. And I just like the way he flows, but like, let's meet at the crossroads of torsos and learn some things only the Lord knows. Break the law. It's only the law now. No one knows. Got pies and ovens, but no DiGiorno's. So, you know, like, we gonna maybe do some shadier shit. We gonna keep it on the low. Nobody gonna find out. We got some drugs in the oven. But DiGiorno's is a frozen pizza company, so it's a very good line. I like when he's just like, we all got fucked, but no pornos. We ain't growing corn, but got cornrows. We ain't playing greens, we'd be spending it. Lifespan is short, try extending it. And it's kind of like, situation's kind of fucking bad, you know? And just the way he constructed those lines, like, we all got fucked. Like, but no pornos, because in pornos, everybody's having sex. It's not like craziest lines ever, but the way he delivers it, and they are really, it just sounds great. It's fun to listen to. But the real MVP lyric in this fucking track, if you ain't into reading, I'm recommending it. I'm reading Carter G. Woodson when I'm in the woods, when the money's cut off, whatever. He just told y'all to read books, because he does, and he thinks it's a smart thing for y'all to do. Especially rappers. If you're a rapper who doesn't read books, it's like saying that you're a bodybuilder who doesn't go to the gym. Like, it doesn't make sense to me how, if your whole job is to know words and how to manipulate them, you don't read. Either way, I like lines like, old soul, I probably gave lessons to Sun Tzu. Lyrically, I'm a Bruce Lee master at Kung Fu, rhyming with black thought, assessing the black thought. I told you that I'm conscious, but bitch will clap off. And I like how he's got that, like, on the one hand, I'll take you the fuck out, but on the other hand, I'm smart as fuck. And it's almost like the complete package here. Overall, it's cool. They make their dad making a murderer pawn at the end. I don't watch the show, so I don't really know if it's any good or not. And I really enjoyed this one. Surprise, surprise. But this shit's getting a 4.5 on 5, because for me, this album is really consistent. The lyrics are consistently dope. The beats are consistently dope, but not 100% for me, but well produced and really great. So, I mean, I know this is a pretty lengthy one for like a 5-track album, but like, if the dude keeps giving me shit to talk about and things to think about, then that's what it is. That's part of how you know Black Thought has so much thought put into his rhymes. I digress. Thank you for sticking with me this long.
The hatred as a motivator. Thank you to my enemies from Memphis, Tennessee.
This is like, he manages to even take an interesting twist on a song showing appreciation to people. So it's just over 2 minutes, clocking in as the shortest track on this project. And he says some interesting stuff right off the jump. Thanks for the memories. So we get the idea of pensiveness and that his life has culminated to a certain point, and that this song's going to be kind of layered with appreciation for different things. And what kind of things are we going to see? For the first and third of the month check deliveries, agencies in the early 80s for giving cheese to families with parents who had drug dependencies. I was like, oh, damn, eh? And like, I grew up on welfare for a big chunk of my life, like maybe a decade or so. I mean, I don't know, actually. I can't remember the exact years, but my parents were on welfare and they got off of it, and sort of. My dad's back on it, and whatever. It got complicated, but I can say that if it wasn't for welfare, my childhood would have been real trash. And thank God that Canada, or Quebec at least, has a decent welfare program for that type of thing. And so I can't say my parents had drug dependencies, but I can say that because of those social services, I myself feel an appreciation towards those agencies that handed out cheese to parents who needed that money. So I thought it was just like a really like powerful start and an interesting thing to show appreciation for, because you don't often in any capacity hear people praise the government for any of the things they maybe can get kind of right. And maybe a welfare system should be kind of implied, but I guess from Black Thought's point of view, that was a crucial part of his success in life. So it is something that needs to be thanked and appreciated for. And I like that. It's definitely something to think about. For every lesson I received as I live and breathe, and all the blessings I believed in and then achieved, thanks to my moms for never getting rid of me, and to my lady, baby, thank you for forgiving me. Thanks to the people in my life who were significant and, putting up with my shit and all of this other stuff. I don't know, it just also kind of thanks for everything. Images of strange fruits hanging from the trees, laces on the gym shoes skating from police, kids playing on the stoops wearing dungarees. Unbeknownst to them, they live in a city under siege. And it's like, whoa, that took a twist. And it's almost like he's grateful for the environment that he came from, because without that environment and the specific series of incidents that make up his life, he wouldn't be the person he is, delivering the messages he's delivering to you. So I thought that was actually pretty cool, and it really made me think, to like the hatred, the power of positive energy as opposed to hatred as a motivative. Thank you to my enemies, and then from all over and stuff. And I was like, whoa, that is a cool twist on like thanking haters and shit, but making it like a real smart and great approach. And then in the second verse, it has Kirby, who I've never heard of, singing on the chorus, and she just kind of thank you for the love, etc. It's very nice. It's a sweet little hook. I think it's one of the only real hooks we get on this project. And then in the second verse, places that I've known, many of which I've outgrown. Thanks for the ride home. Some motherfuckers tried to make me think tried to make me give what's mine to them. Thank goodness for my decent aim with one eye closed. Gangsters and fly hoes, freaks and sideshows, mistakes I've made in the past that only God knows. And it's like he's appreciative of his skills, his street smarts, his savvy, and his ability to get away with everything that happened to him. And I don't know, I'm just left with this point where it's like his unapologetic appreciation for all the experiences in his life, both good and bad, and recognizing the shift in his attitude, transitioning things, and how he had to go through what he went through to get to that place. It's a really cool and beautiful song conceptually, but the beat kind of goes in a softer, less interesting tone to me. And so I found this one from a sonic perspective, like my enjoyment was a little bit less. From a conceptual perspective, it's top, like every song's a 5 at like a writing perspective. But like for the whole, I'm giving this track a 4.35 because I do like it just a little bit less than the other ones. Otherwise, if you like the lyrics, you know what I'm going to say. Check this shit out. This is the end of this little review. This is the Black Thought Streams of Thoughts Volume 1. In case you were wondering, I'm finna go record Volume 2 not long after I edit the Volume 1 one. That's like the rest of my afternoon. It's just gonna be record Volume 2, get these things prepared and set up, because they're short, they're dense, they're fucking powerful little experiences. Spoiler alert, Volume 2 is gonna be a very similar review to this one. But the beats, all produced by Ninth Wonder, are very well made. They're really enjoyable. I could see how a lot of the old heads are going to be vibing to this proper. Me, I do like a little bit more of a modern edge to my beats, but I appreciate the groove that you can listen to, because as you're doing other things, or maybe you're having a chit chat online, or maybe you're doing some prep work or whatever, listening to this is great background music. But what adds charm to it is that you know that the lyrics you're hearing are going to be encoding proper messages that you might have to Google later to understand bar for bar, because that's how deep this guy goes. Every lyric is not wasted. That was a poor sentence, but everything means something and everything connects and the lines are cohesive, and it's just a pleasure to listen to. Like I said at the beginning, in case you're just hearing it now, please let us know in the comments what Roots album we should be covering, because we want to do like one of them in the near future. And I think that if the comments tell us the best album to review, that would be the greatest experience for everybody involved. Otherwise, if nobody answers, I'm going to start with the first one. So let me know what you guys think is dope. And yeah, that'll be really cool. I could not recommend this project enough for like everybody that's into the lyrics and the old school sounds. And it's so incredible that this shit came out in 2018. I gave the project a 4.45 because that last little grade knocked it a bit, but it's a consistent, excellent experience. It's about 20 minutes, the whole project, tops, and it's 5 tracks. I mean, y'all have the time to give Black Thought some of your time and to get a little pensive with it. I totally recommend it, like I said. On that note, that's the end of this review. So let me know what you thought in the comments. Let me know how you want to contribute, and not how you want to contribute, but like let me know what you're thinking, because that will contribute to the review, because everybody who comes to the video will actually read the comments is my thoughts, especially when there's not a lot. And so if you have some cool shit to say, other people are going to read that and they'll get some benefit from that too. And then who knows, maybe it's my favorite comment in next week's video. Feel free to subscribe to the channel for more reviews. Hit that like button if you felt it, because it totally tells YouTube that we're cool. And then special thanks to the patrons: Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Prado, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black Hurricanes, and Lindell Williams. They support what we do. They helped us get a new camera. They get to tell us what albums they want to see us review, and we do them as you know, in a cycle. And yeah, it's a good time over there. So let us know what you care about. I'm open to talking to y'all in the comments. If you do make that effort, I will answer you. I make music myself. You can check that out on this channel. I would love to hear what you have to think. On that note, I'll get back to you real soon with more reviews. Peace.